Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to be making another video after a long break. And the truth is, it is so difficult to find time to film videos when you have a very active toddler and a husband who works 24/7 and no close friends or family around to help with my little boy. So I really struggle to find any time for anything apart from cooking, looking after the home, and looking after my whole family. It's really not so easy, but today I found a bit of time. So let's hope that my little boy is not going to wake up too early and prevent me from finishing this video. So fingers crossed it's going to be okay. So today's video is going to be our 6-month TRS update. That's how long we've been taking it now, and just a general health update for me as well, because it's time. I've learned a lot of new things. I made some more mistakes, so I'm going to share all of that with you today. I really hope that you find some inspiring information, some ideas for you to try yourself. And before we start, I'd also like to let you know, remind you that I am a very proud TRS distributor. So I do get commission if you buy TRS using my link. And to start with, I'm also going to announce a little giveaway just because I'm very happy to be back here, and I thought I would celebrate it by giving a bottle of TRS to one of you. So all you have to do to win this little beauty is to tell me in the comments why you would like to try TRS, or if you're already using it, why you're using it, what kind of changes you're expecting to see, or what kind of changes you've seen already. So just leave me a comment down below, and I'm going to close the giveaway in a week's time. I will announce the winner in the pinned comment underneath this video, and also in the description box. So 6 months on TRS for me and for my entire family. Once again, it's been a journey of lots of ups and downs, lots of 2 steps forward and 1 step back, lots of learnings, lots of mistakes as always, but so far the progress is amazing and I couldn't be happier with it. I have to say I probably feel the best I've felt right now, or at least very close to it, and I just feel great, more or less consistently every single day. Last time I had an update when it was 3 months of using TRS, I told you that my son and I were able to eat dairy again, and we were so happy, no issues at all. So we ate it for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, and then issues started creeping up. If you're interested in the exact symptoms I was getting, so I started getting these semi-loose yellow stools again, some weird rashes, some anxiety and insomnia, crazy mucus in my throat, this really thick mucus that would just hang around my throat and make me nauseous, lots of fatigue, depression, burning mouth syndrome, which was driving me absolutely crazy, and naturally because dairy was something that we added in. Around the time I blamed dairy for it, even though it was really strange that it was totally okay for a few weeks, not more than a few weeks, for almost 2 months, it was totally fine. And then we started running into issues again. The thing is, if it was an actual intolerance, I would feel bad right away when eating it, not when it built up after a few weeks or something like that. It just didn't make sense to me. So I kept searching for an answer. And then, as always, I found it. So around the same time, or a few weeks before that, I started taking a B complex. And in my history, I could never take B complex vitamins. They cause all kinds of issues, more or less the kind of symptoms that I had when I thought it was a dairy issue. And they always caused me massive histamine issues, kind of mast cell disorder, activation disorder type symptoms, and I could never work out why. The theory was that perhaps it was something to do with the MTHFR mutations, that I had issues processing B vitamins even when they were methylated and active. But that kind of still didn't make complete sense, but I think now I found the actual answer. So B vitamins, especially B6 and also the active form P5P, is what causes major oxalate dumping. And that's why I started having all of those issues. It had nothing to do with dairy. Well, in a way it was, but it was mostly because of oxalate dumping. Now, oxalates are not really a new topic for me. I already made a video about that a few years ago, and I had major issues with oxalates when I was on a low carb paleo diet. Then I thought things got much better. They were not really bothering me that much, but they were just on the lower scale. But the thing is, when I stopped eating gluten and dairy, I replaced those with a lot of nuts and a lot of foods high in oxalates, because I was breastfeeding. I had to get the calories from somewhere, and so I ate a lot of nuts, and nuts are very, very high in oxalates, and so I ran into major issues because of that. So it's really like you try to run from a wolf and then you jump on a bear. That's the saying we have in my country, but it's really true. You try to avoid something that you think is bad for you, but then you start eating something that is even worse, and you end up doing much more damage. So in the end, my intuitive attitude that eliminations are never good and eliminations always lead to more eliminations in the end was right. So when I started taking the B complex, it took a few weeks for the levels to build up and for the oxalate dumping to start. And that's exactly what my symptoms were coming from. Plus, on top of that, I started eating dairy. Dairy has a lot of calcium, and calcium binds up a lot of the oxalates that you eat. So the overall level of the oxalates your body gets from food gets reduced, and then your body starts dumping even more of those oxalate reserves that it has in all the different organs and tissues and so on and so forth. And so the increased calcium plus B complex caused a major, major oxalate dump, and that's what was causing all the issues. It's a huge topic. I don't really want to get too much into detail about oxalates in this video, because I want to make videos about oxalates themselves more than what I talked about a few years ago. So let's not get too much into detail. But basically, all I did was I got rid of the foods super high in oxalates, like nuts. I basically got rid of, well, mostly cashews and almonds. And most other nuts, I eat some other nuts in very small quantities from time to time, but I definitely don't touch any cashews and almonds. And other things like spinach, like sweet potatoes, but I don't really eat those anyway. So for me, it was really mainly just almonds, cashew nuts, and chocolate. Chocolate is big as well. It has loads of oxalates, and I was eating quite a bit of it, and I always had issues with it, but I never knew why. So after that, I started feeling good again. All the symptoms disappeared, and then I reintroduced dairy again with no B vitamins this time. And everything was perfectly fine, and I've been eating dairy ever since with no issues. So here we go, another answer found for my health, and I really think that is going to be very helpful for a lot of you as well, because so many of those health foods are very high in oxalates. So many of those gluten-free foods, gluten-free flours, so high in oxalates. We try to do better for our body, but we end up just poisoning ourselves. So I think this is going to apply to so many of you. So just a simple change, reducing the oxalates a little bit, means that now my stool is back to normal. Hallelujah, just like it was at the beginning when I started taking TRS and I wasn't tampering with any B vitamins. My energy is back up, my motivation, my mood is back up, I sleep well again. Another interesting thing is that for all the 6 months of taking TRS, my hair loss kept happening. And I had hair loss already before. I've had it for quite a few years. It was really bad postpartum, then it stopped for 3 months. And then my period came back, and with a period, it started falling again. So I think my period lowered my iron levels once again, and that's why my hair started falling. Now, oxalates actually bind up a lot of the minerals like zinc, iron, copper, and many others. And so it's very easy to get deficient no matter how much you get from the diet. You just can't absorb it if everything gets bound by the oxalates. And TRS is supposed to help with hair loss. Most people have their hair loss completely stop and the hair regrowth start. I never saw that, and I couldn't understand why. And the reason is simple, because I kept really binging on oxalate foods all the time, and so my body never had a chance to build up those minerals like copper and zinc and iron that are so important for healthy hair. So around a week or two of lower oxalate diet, and my hair loss completely stopped, and it has been not falling out for the last couple of months now, so that makes me so happy. TRS plus lower oxalates is like a dream come true for me. It's just a perfect team, and it's not like I'm eating low oxalates, far from it. I don't count anything religiously or anything at all. I just took out the super high sources of oxalates from my diet, and that's it. So let's talk about some more changes I've seen. So I never really get mouth sores anymore. I don't really remember last time it happened. I don't think I've had any for the last 3 months. It's incredible because I used to have at least one mouth sore going at all times. I never get those cuts and kind of wounds in my mouth anymore like I used to get. It's never really sore anymore. It's always just calm. My tongue is always clean now, no matter what I eat. Before, if I eat rice or a bit more fruit or anything with any kind of natural sugar, I would get kind of whitish tongue, but that just doesn't happen anymore. It's always the same. I also sometimes used to get this weird cotton mouth feeling after eating rice and other carb sources, especially rice. Used to make my mouth really kind of dry and cotton-like. That doesn't happen anymore. And I suspect that it's probably something to do with maybe Candida overgrowth in my whole body that seems to have completely gone away, together with TRS and lowering oxalates, because oxalates also participate in the Candida overgrowth quite a bit. So I was able to successfully stop taking caprylic acid, so no more issues with, oh, and also all the other antifungals. I don't take anything anymore, and my Candida overgrowth seems to be completely under control. I never really saw any Candida in my stools like some people do. I never saw that, but despite that, my digestion and the whole body seems to be completely fine now without any antifungals at all. Such a great improvement for me is that now I can eat absolutely anything with no effect on my skin, my digestion, or my mood. Never get those crazy irritable or depressive moods after eating sweets. I don't eat sweets, but you know, if I make some homemade cake from time to time, I want to be able to eat it and not have to pay the price for it. I lost 2 skin tags just underneath my right eye. Pity that I didn't take any picture before, but I had those 2 tiny skin tags that were always bothering me, and they seem to be growing and getting bigger in the last year or so. But one day they just peeled off. They were kind of sticking out and dry, and I just peeled them off, and they didn't leave any mark at all. It's like they never even existed. I feel like my eyesight is gradually, very slowly improving. I don't do any eye exercises. I haven't done them for years, but I noticed that when I go around and I look at number plates or cars passing by or being in the distance, before I could never read them at all, and now I constantly get these perfect vision moments where I can actually read them, and I just catch them all the time, and they're happening more and more frequently without me doing anything about it. So I think that's a good sign as well, that something profound is happening in my body. My mood really leveled off. It's always quite stable, quite nice, quite happy. I don't get these crazy up and downs anymore. Some days I'm actually so in love with life and everything just looks so beautiful and all the colors look bright, and those days are becoming quite frequent. Other days I just feel normal. My periods became quite regular for me. They are now somewhere, well, the cycles are somewhere between 26 and 30 days. For those of you who have extremely regular periods, this might seem like irregular, but for me, when before it was somewhere between 23 and 43, 26 to 30 is very regular. So, and it's getting better and better as well with every single month. They're also lighter, they're slightly shorter, no clots in them at all. So it's a nice fresh red blood. So I think my hormones are really leveling off as well. I actually want to exercise again, and I've been exercising for the last few weeks quite regularly. My muscles recover quite quickly. I don't get this crazy muscle pain after working out for many days. In general, when I'm moving around, going for walks and so on and so forth, I feel very light and strong. And I'm still baby wearing my 20-month-old toddler at the front, still not even at the back, and I find him still quite light, still quite doable. My back doesn't get tired by it, so I think I'm doing pretty well. I do get lower back pain from time to time, but I think it's where I have a lot of oxalate buildup from all that crazy high oxalate diet, and it is getting better. It's getting better, but from time to time, some days I do get some lower back pain. But in general, when I exercise, I find that I'm much more flexible. One thing that I noticed pretty much from the first day I started taking TRS, and it's something shocking for my husband because I'm somebody who could never go out during the day without sunglasses. My eyes were so sensitive, not just to the sunshine, but also to any light. I couldn't stand being outside without sunglasses. I was almost that person who'd wear sunglasses on a cloudy day. But now I haven't touched my sunglasses for the last few months, pretty much for all 6 months. I don't need them at all. My eyes are not sensitive at all. But my eyes still burn and itch from time to time, and I think that's something to do with the oxalate dumping. I am cleansing all those oxalates from the eyes and the rest of the body, and unfortunately they do come out through the eyes as well. Because I notice after that happens, I always get these crystals in the corners of my eyes, so I think that's why. But TRS is amazing when that happens, because as soon as I feel that itching and burning, I just spray TRS into my eye, and all the redness and all the itching sensation just goes away within minutes. So it's my savior. I don't notice much brain fog anymore, and it's very apparent when I speak. Before, I felt like my brain was always lagging. I really struggled with a word recall in any language. I really struggled to find the right word to kind of put the sentences together. But now it happens from time to time, but let's say maybe a couple of times a month, when before it was on most days. So there's a huge improvement there for sure. And I just find that it's easier for me to think, critically think, analyze, plan. Yeah, definitely much less brain fog than before. My digestion has been so good, so spotless lately. Like I said before, I can literally eat anything. I've been back to eating all the dairy. I mostly just eat goat and sheep because I prefer to eat those, also because they're all local, so I know they're organic, I know which farmers they come from. So I tend to avoid cow dairy because God knows where it comes from. But now I'm also making a new sourdough starter because I killed my old one, and I'm about to start making sourdough bread as well. I tried some sourdough stuff for a couple of days. I made sourdough cookies and I made sourdough pancakes, and I was totally fine with them. Didn't affect my digestion, mood, or skin or anything else. So it seems that both me and my little boy are perfectly fine with sourdough. So that's very exciting because I cannot wait for my little boy to try my homemade sourdough bread. It's going to be amazing to watch him. Fingers crossed in a couple of days. Something that my husband always notices and just can't get enough of is how all my wrinkles have completely disappeared around my eyes. Like, it's incredible. I had these crazy wrinkles, these what are they called, crow feet, I think, and also around here, like everywhere there were so many wrinkles, and they've all pretty much completely disappeared. The skin is so smooth, it's unbelievable, and I can notice the same in my husband as well. I also got a little bottle, an old bottle of TRS. I filled it up with 1/4 of TRS and then 3/4 of distilled water, and I use that as a spray for my face every single night. So I do 3 sprays, and so that's kind of almost one normal spray of TRS, and that really makes a difference for the skin as well. I love it. My skin has just been really smooth and really calm. No acne, no rashes, very nourished. So I've been very happy with my skin. Another thing that I noticed pretty much from the beginning of taking TRS, but I noticed it a lot in the last 3 months simply because we reached winter and it got really cold, is how comfortable I feel with any temperature. So in the summer I felt really comfortable when it was hot. But now I also realized that I also feel very comfortable when it's cold. So we had a couple of weeks of really cold temperature at home. We had 16.5 degrees, which is really cold, 16.5 degrees Celsius. But I felt perfectly comfortable with just one sweater. You know, I was perfectly fine. We still slept with a tiny thin blanket. It's unbelievable. Both my husband and I felt the same thing, like we felt comfortable. We had those kind of temperatures also in the previous years, so we know how cold we were and how many layers of clothing we needed. And this time, none of it happened. So I guess it's probably improving our thyroid function or something like that, because we don't feel cold anymore at all. My husband is growing his hair long for the first time since teenage years, and that's been nice because he loves it and I like it too. And the interesting thing is that his hair is getting darker. Now, I tried to take a picture for you, but it kind of looks more gray than it is in pictures. I don't know why, but we can see that the overall shaft of the hair is getting darker and the gray hairs are disappearing. So that's really interesting. And when I went to my hairdresser a couple of weeks ago, he also said that I don't have even one white hair. And, you know, at my age, I am 37, he said that that's pretty amazing. So I don't know if it's TRS or what, but I don't have even one gray hair, and that's pretty cool. Also sprayed TRS on every single burn, bite, cut, any rash, anything at all, and it always gives so much relief so quickly. At this point, I haven't had any cold for a year and a half, which for me is a first. It's never ever happened before. The longest I've ever gone was 12 months. Now it's been a year and a half with not even a sniffle. My husband hasn't had a cold for 2.5 years at this point, but that's quite normal for him. But for me, I had a cold every single year, either in September or in December, and this year I didn't get it. So that's amazing. And Leonardo as well, ever since we started taking TRS, he hasn't had any runny nose, any fever, anything at all. We gave TRS to our cats and they all became so playful. We almost regretted giving it to them because we couldn't sleep. Leonardo kept getting woken up by them because they were making so much noise, chasing each other, and they were just like youngsters again. It was incredible. Also, Sirena, our oldest cats, had to have one of her teeth extracted, and after that she ended up getting some kind of an eye infection after a week or so, and so we put a drop of TRS in it a couple of times a day, and by the next day everything was back to normal. Another thing that we were just talking about the other day is that my husband hasn't had any headache for the last 2 or 3 years, and for him that's amazing because he gets something called cluster headaches. They're really, really, really painful headaches, and he used to get them perhaps 2-3 times a month, and now he hasn't had any at all for 2 or 3 months at all. So that is really nice. My husband also got much leaner with no bloated belly. The belly has completely disappeared. His weight stayed the same, but he just looks leaner, and you can see it by the clothes, by the way he looks. He just looks so good now. And he used to do intermittent fasting before. He doesn't do that anymore. Most of the days he doesn't do it anymore, but still the gains remain, and I feel that that's purely due to TRS. And when it comes to Leonardo, our little boy, I can't really say that things have changed because, to be honest, things were already great when I made my last update at 3 months. They're still great now. It's all smooth sailing. It's just so happy and so pleasant to be around that there was pretty much nothing to improve. So he's doing great. That's all I can say. He's speaking more and more. He is almost getting completely potty trained. Everything is going super well. He's growing very healthy and very happy. So it's all good there. But I still give him 1 spray a day, most days when I remember. Sometimes I forget, but when I do give it to him, and he really likes it. And for myself, right now, muscle testing tells me to take 3 sprays a day. I take them all in the morning because I feel that if I take them in the evening, it kind of interferes with my sleep. So I prefer to take them all in the morning. And that's what I've been taking for the last few weeks. In the past, I think the most I ever took was 21 sprays in a day, but I always did muscle testing, and nowadays it's just 3. So I guess it means that my detoxing is almost complete. So at this point, I'm kind of moving down towards my maintenance dose, and that's a good thing as well, I guess. So that's all I wanted to update you on my TRS journey and my entire health. I hope that you found this interesting and inspiring. If you'd like to know anything about TRS at all, or if you have any questions, just let me know down in the comments, or get in touch with me in any of the social media. All my links are down in the description box. I am a TRS distributor, so I'm here to help you. I really hope that you found this information interesting. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Hopefully it won't take me another 3 months.